Okay, I think my start in, or my interest in making films began when I was about 8 years old. I would redirect any film that I saw with the kids around. And I just loved it. You be this, you would do that. I would always be the cowboy who would be shot. Very dramatic. I joined the UN in August of 1946. And I actually met a girl on a bus, and she told me about the UN, and I went. It was the first day that the UN was in the building in Lake Success, and it was a very, very small staff. They hired me. They said, how about a clerk, messenger, and personnel? I agreed. Personnel officers knew of my desire to be in films or television or some part of information because I had been an actor and I just wanted to do something. I was lucky to start out as a sort of a co-producer with John McVane, who was an ABC reporter, as the host. But in any event, the majority leader of the US at that time was Lyndon Johnson. And he was to be our guest. And I was the producer at that time, and I called the Waldorf where he was, expecting to speak to a secretary. But he answered the phone himself. And he said, oh yeah, that's fine. I'll be there. By the way, who is the host of the program? And I said, well, it's John McVane of ABC. What? I'll be there. I'll see you then. And you're? I said, I'm Joe O'Brien. Okay, I'll see you then. And at 2 o'clock, he arrived in the studio. Lyndon Johnson said, hello, John, as if he knew him for years. You don't need to ask me, we don't need to talk about the questions. I've got them. And he handed John a page with the questions that he wanted to be asked. I'd never seen that happen before. It never happened afterwards either. Oh my gosh. Wow. It brings back so many memories. This is 1980, and it's at the airstrip in Lebanon. And behind us is the Italian helicopter, a Bell helicopter, with an Italian crew. The UN compound had been shot up somewhat. They thought it was a good idea that we send a film crew, and after several futile attempts at driving, I realized that this is not going to work. So I went into the general and I said, Alex, we're going home. He said, what's the matter? I said, we can't do this. We can't drive ourselves through this. After all, he killed 2 Irish soldiers, and I'm Irish American. What do you need? He said. I said, a helicopter. And he said, no problem. A helicopter and no problem are the way things could have been decided like that when you're remotely away from headquarters. But the story behind this picture is sad. We flew very low, very fast. This helicopter, 2 weeks after we left Lebanon in 1980, was shot down. Both pilots were killed. So, it's a dangerous place. Well, I was sent on one trip in 1964. I went to Geneva for the World Trade Conference. And that's when I met Che Guevara. for the first time. And I've never met such a charismatic person in my life as Che Guevara. But one day in the studio, when I wanted to do an interview with him, he offered me a cigar. And I said, I don't smoke. But I kept the cigar. I took the cigar and kept it. And I had it for years. And I had it in my cupboard. And one day I was telling this story to a group of friends. I said, I have a cigar that Che Guevara gave me. And I went, opened the drawer, pulled it out, opened the container, and it said, "It's a boy." My son had smoked the Che Guevara cigar and replaced it with an "It's a Boy" cigar.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love that.
Movies touch, as does television now, touch the hearts and souls of people. It brings out things that you might not think about. But once you hear it, it's there. It's a tremendous media. Well, it's mine. I mean, I have to say it because I love it. I've always loved it. I'm lucky that I worked for the UN. I'm lucky that I had the opportunity to travel to the many places that I did. I think I got more out of it than I gave. I hope the UN did too. Those were wonderful days.